Lab 5 is called Testing an Antacid, and it is a lab that's going to explore stoichiometry, the quantitative study of chemical reactions. And we're going to use a fairly common reaction where we're going to react sodium bicarbonate with an acid to produce double replacement, and one of the compounds that's made decomposes rapidly into carbon dioxide and water. And we're going to use that decomposition in order to try and evaluate how well the reaction worked. Once we do that, we're then going to test commercial antacid product to see whether or not its label accurately reflects the amount of sodium bicarbonate in it. The key to this lab is to take very, very careful mass measurements, and as we've laid out here on the bench, I've indicated the stuff that you're going to be weighing. You're going to mass out about 2 grams of sodium bicarbonate in the balance room. The exact amount doesn't matter as long as you know exactly what it is. And then you're going to mass an empty 25 milliliter graduated cylinder, put in about 25 milliliters of acid, and again the exact amount doesn't matter because then you're going to mass it again so that you can figure out the mass of the acid. You're also going to mass an empty 125 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask, and it's going to contain all of our reaction products when we're done, and so when the reaction is finished, we're going to mass it again to have a mass of all of the products, and then we're going to subtract all of the numbers appropriately in order to figure out the amount of carbon dioxide that was produced, and as a result, the moles of sodium hydrogen carbonate that we started with. Once we calibrate the procedure, we're going to do it again using a commercial antacid tablet that contains sodium bicarbonate, and when we study the reaction the second time, we can figure out whether or not the advertised amount is the same as the amount on the label. So basically the procedure after you got all your mass data is to put the solid sodium hydrogen carbonate into your massed empty flask, and then carefully pour the acid into the flask, making sure that you don't overwhelm the flask and send reaction mixture out the top. You're going to swirl there to try and get all of the solid dissolved and reacted. And because we know that carbon dioxide can stay dissolved in water, we're going to heat gently the whole reaction mixture on the hot plate for a few minutes until we stop seeing the bubbles that are characteristic of that carbon dioxide. And at that point, we're going to then take the flask off the hot plate, let it cool for a few minutes to come back to room temperature, and then we're going to take the mass again. This reaction mixture can go down the drain because it is completely harmless, and then you'll do the exact same procedure again, only in this instance you'll use one of the commercial antacid tablets that we have, and repeat this exact procedure to figure out again whether or not the amount of active ingredient in the antacid, which is listed on the label, is verified by the experiment. Good luck.